It's a few years since I've done a workshop tour, so I thought I'd update you with what's been going on since. Let's start with the outside. Here we have a rather dodgy looking workbench that's brilliant for cleaning and grinding and things out in the open air. So I'll just do a very quick walk around of the workshop just to orient you, and then we can look at some of the details. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in a pretty small space here. In this corner we've got most of the stock storage. So in those black bins there is aluminium, brass and steel and plastics. And then we've got some storage of fasteners and some storage of general hardware. That silver hose is the extraction from the forge there, and brazing hearth. And there here in the middle we have a large belt sander, a small belt sander, and you can see we have a bandsaw. At the moment it's also a temporary stand for a buffer polisher and wire wheel. That red thing in the corner there, well, that's the gas bottle, but that's a oil cooled stick welder, and I'm using that as an auto transformer. And then there's a rotary phase converter on the wall, and that powers all the three-phase equipment in the workshop. So as mentioned before, we have a brazing hearth and forge with fire bricks. We then have a Herbert surface grinder that I re-scraped and rebuilt, and there's a video on that. And also a tool and cutter grinder, again I re-scraped and rebuilt. A single lip grinder. That's where all my files are stored, in those drawers. The sort of fairly standard double-ended grinder, and then another double-ended grinder, one specifically for carbide with either a diamond or a green wheel on. And these hold yet more springs and fasteners and general hardware. In the centre of the workshop we have this Vise stand, and it's solid and bolted to the ground, so it can be used for various sheet metal work and bending and hammering tasks. Behind that we have a little oven for tempering, a heat treatment oven, some rollers and shears and punches and various sheet metal tools, and then some more hardware storage. Behind here we have a plasma cutter, a DC stick welder, a TIG welder, and you can't really see it there, but a MIG welder, and then we have a small anvil in the shop as well. Moving along, we have my granddad's old Dunlop compressor, 1946. Various saws and the support for the milling machine. This is a Victoria Omni mill, which is basically a horizontal milling machine with a turret head fitted, and that's got a DRO. And down there is another small compressor, and I use those in tandem with this power hammer. There's a video of me building this power hammer on the channel. Next to the power hammer is a blacksmith vise, and a post anvil, and also a rack for the various tongs and hammers and things. This is really just stored here. If I want to use it, I drag it out into the middle of the workshop. We have an AEW horizontal milling machine that I've got a vertical head for as well. Got the shop vac stored there. And here we have an Elliott 10M shaper. If I zoom out, we have a high-speed drilling machine, a Herbert high-speed drilling machine. And underneath the drilling machine we have storage for clamps and various things, and machinist jacks. As you can tell, pretty overloaded cupboard. General clamps, and then in that bottom drawer, in those red boxes, is things like bearing pullers, three-legged pullers, that kind of thing, disassembly tools. So this is the disassembly and assembly workbench. So you can see at the end there we've got a rack with large sledgehammers and bolt croppers and that kind of thing. Here's the arbor press. There's a video of me rebuilding that. There's the main vise of the workshop, all the hammers and wrenches and that kind of stuff, a parts washer, and then all the common tools, common mechanics tools that you need to get access to quickly, and there's a paraffin lamp there as well, don't ask me why. In these drawers below is where most of the mechanics tools are stored. So we have things like shears and pliers and that kind of thing, screwdrivers of various types, adjustable wrenches, Allen keys, and there's some woodworking tools, some soldering and brazing equipment, sheet metal equipment, and various other tools, spanners, sockets, that kind of stuff. In these top cupboards is stored spray guns, that kind of thing, air tools, and then kind of building tools and a few other spares and things for the lathe. Above it is stored all the oil for various things in the workshop. This small set of drawers here has got most of the cutting tools in it, so and mills and slot drills, milling cutters of various types. And if we turn around here, we have another small set of drawers, and this is mainly taps and dies, so metric taps and dies. I've got pretty much most taps and dies you'll ever need. So metric, UNC, Whitworth, BSF, BA, ME, various types. There's some drill sets that wouldn't fit in any other cupboard. And oil cans filled with various types of oils. And this workbench here is the kind of clean workbench. So this is where I do electronics and that kind of thing. That cupboard there is just for paints. This cupboard has got some electronic stuff in, oils and glues. That's mainly hand power tools. And then these drawers are filled with things like angle plates, straight edges, setup blocks, that kind of stuff. The cupboards above the workbench, some of the most well-used cupboards in the whole workshop. So we've got punches, scraping equipment, and arbors and vices and that sort of thing. And then here we have indicator stands, mechanical indicators of various types, and some electric indicators, and squares and rules. The last cupboard along this length has got dividers, micrometers, levels and calipers, and below that is where most of the electronics equipment is. So we've got an oscilloscope, a couple of power supplies, a multimeter, and a frequency meter, and a soldering iron. In the corner of the workshop we have a Centec 2 milling machine that I converted to anti-backlash screws and CNC controlled, and then we have some larger straight edges up there. And if we pan round, we have a Harrison L5 lathe that I've recently just rebuilt and is awaiting a VFD conversion. We have a fairly ordinary drill press that's used for just quick drilling jobs, and then we have the Cromwell lathe and some of the tool holders for the Cromwell lathe. Here's a different view of the two lathes, the drill press and the little milling machine at the back there. Under that green cover is a granite surface plate, and there's a height gauge and a vertical micrometer and some tooling for the lathe. This red toolbox here has got things like centres and drill chucks, that kind of thing in it, and some larger cutting tools, and on top of it is a cast iron surface plate, and then a vise on a piece of wood that normally goes out to the workbench outside. And here we have a hydraulic 20-ton hydraulic press with a press brake attachment that I made. Over there, underneath that blanket, is things like dividing heads and rotary tables and that sort of thing. And we've got an engine crane and a pallet jack, horizontal bandsaw and a vertical wood bandsaw. All the equipment in this area here, apart from the large granite surface plate, is all on wheels, so I can move this around, otherwise access will be very difficult. So with the blanket removed, you can see I've got a couple of sets, T-slots and clamp sets. I've got a Criterion rotary table, Hoffman dividing head, various bits of bracketry, homemade dividing head and a tail stuck to the Hoffman. Then we've got the vertical head, the AW, Taylor Hobson rotary tilting rotary table, and an overarm for the Centec. You can see underneath the bandsaw is also some storage of larger stock. On there we have a fret saw and a wood lathe, doesn't get a lot of use. The chainsaw is stored there at the moment, and a cheapo mitre saw. So hopefully you enjoyed the whistle stop tour of my workshop today. And if you like metalworking or fabrication or any other kind of manufacturing or mechanics, then you might like to look at some of the other videos that are on my channel. Hopefully you'll find those interesting.